inevitable that we enter new seasons and new chapters of our lives. And right now, for most people, it is the fall season, which I think naturally brings this energetic shift to wanting to step into a new season, acting different, being different, living different. And I want to share with you guys 5 ways that you can really step into a new chapter and a new season of your life. These are some of the things that I have been living by, and it's really allowing me to be a new version of myself. Now, I want to start by sharing a Pinterest quote because I love them, and this really resonates with the season of life that I think that we're all in right now. And it says, directions for saving your life. It begins with 2 realizations. First, that you are worth saving. And second, that you're going to have to do it yourself. You exhale, you free the restless creature pacing inside. You divorce expectation and remarry desire. You give your instinct a voice, your body permission. You finally take what you need, not what scraps you think you deserve. You let go knowing that you don't lose anything by releasing what isn't yours. And I think this is powerful to think about, how no matter what tips I give you or what steps you think that you need to do or actually do when it comes to changing your life, you really need to release and let go of the limiting beliefs and the identity that you have been living in that keeps you small and that doesn't allow you to be the highest version of yourself in your life. Many times what motivates us to even want to change in our lives is the mere fact that we have been living very stagnant. And with stagnancy, there's typically a lot of energetic stuckness. That's kind of how I look at stagnancy, or like feel into it, where there's not a lot of permission to dream bigger or allow ourselves to move with the season of life. There might also be a lot of shame that we are carrying, or really critical thoughts and patterns that we're constantly running on, but we need to understand that that's never going to get us where we need to be. So not only do we need to let that go, but we also need to understand that no one is going to save us but ourselves. And that's a hard but freeing truth. You know, you can sit around and wish and hope for a new chapter of your life, but realistically, you have to be the one to connect with yourself and release yourself from this identity that you no longer want to live in. And it doesn't even need to be something that you look at as the worst thing in the world or shame yourself for being in the chapter that you were in. Sometimes, even for me, I think the past chapter that I've lived was a lot of like deep healing, and it was absolutely needed for me to move into the next chapter of my life. So I don't even look at it as a bad thing necessarily, but if I do want to become this new woman and really be the highest version of myself, then I am gonna have to let go of my limiting beliefs and telling myself that things are not possible, or I can't do these things, or they have to be a perfect way, or I have to stick to the plan, or always just burning myself out and not listening to my body and slowing things down and moving with the seasons of life. I think fall is such a beautiful time to remind you that you have a body and that Mother Nature exists, because when you realize that you have a body and you're connected to that body and you're connected to the seasons of life, you will realize that your mindset is very limited, and the plans that you hope to have in place, or the things that you keep telling yourself to do but then maybe you're like falling short, things like that, there's more going on there. That can't just be the only plan. Your limited mindset, you telling yourself what to do, you have to connect to your body, you have to connect to your intuition, you have to move with the season of life. Anyways, so that was just like a really good quote. So let's get into the first thing, and that is you really need to connect more with your intuition. And I know some people struggle with even knowing what that is, but I feel actually like a lot of us are already tapped into our intuition by simply knowing what feels good to us and what doesn't feel good to us. And I think we live a life sometimes of doing a lot of things that don't feel good to us. Now, a lot of those things are things that we kind of have obligations to do, right? Like maybe you don't love the job that you're in, but you have to go anyways, or you're currently in school right now, so it's like this really is not fun. Or maybe you're in a season of life where you have no idea what you want to do, and no matter what plan that you try and create, or any sort of thing that you try, it's just not sticking, it doesn't feel good, you're lost, whatever it is. It's okay to accept that those are part of our realities, and we don't need to try to get rid of the fact that there are going to be things that we have to do. The way I like to look at that is just understanding that it's a season of life. You being lost in life is a season of life. You going through schooling is a season of life. You being at a job that you don't like can be a season of life if you allow it to be. You can move, you can leave, you can completely change your life, but it's going to be up to you. But instead of focusing on all the things that just don't feel good in your life, like we already know some of the things that don't feel good, it's really about tuning into what are those small or even big things, whether that's habits or actual decisions in your life that make you feel a little bit better than you have been. You need to move in that direction. It's insane what happens when you follow that small little calling within your heart, whether it's, I want to go outside today instead of doing that workout that I feel super drained with, or going to see a friend on a random weekday, even though it's not a part of the plan, it's not what you usually do, but that friend reached out and you know there's something within you that says, just go, even though there's probably a lot of thoughts being like, no, you're an introvert and it's gonna be this and that, but then you end up going anyways. Or even for me, I have really been called to move way quicker than I even thought. Like in my head, and the plan that was on paper was sometime next spring or summer, I'll probably end up moving. No, that's not what ended up happening. This past month, I have been feeling called to go to different areas where I know my mental health just thrives, and I've been feeling so good doing that. And I spent so much time in certain areas where I'm like, I need to be here, living here now. I cannot wait any longer. And obviously that's like a bigger example. Not everyone can just get up and move. And there's obviously certain things you have to put in place, but even entertaining the idea of changing your life that way is something that you should really consider and allow yourself to follow that. That desire is put in you for a reason. Your body knows what's good for you and what's not. And you have to do your best to practice following that intuition and following what feels good. And for the most part, when you follow what feels good, and I don't mean what feels good in the short term, like short-term gratification where you're actually numbing and you're running away from your problems and you're doing those short dopamine kicks. I mean those things that feel really good to your soul, even if you second guess it, even if you are constantly telling yourself in your head, this is not a part of the plan and you shouldn't be doing this, but it's like you going to see a friend during the week, or you deciding that maybe it's actually time to move or change jobs even though it feels really scary. I'm telling you, when you follow more of that, the world is going to start opening up to you, and that is when you really are going to see a lot of change. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It's actually very simple. And every time that I have gone off the plan and did something that actually feels good to me, like when I was following my intuition to go to a certain area a lot more, to the point where it actually made me realize that I am not happy where I'm at right now and it is time to change, and how happy that made me feel now moving forward, and how very much so it was the right decision, and the expansion that that created through even my work and just my mental health and even my habits and all of these things, all of these good things that are happening just from that one decision, that literally changed so much for me. And like I said, with even meeting a friend, I see my friends during the week now, and we like go to Pilates and things like that. And of course it helps my mental health. It really like gets me out of the house and things like that. But there are certain conversations that end up sparking new creative ideas. I got new insights. I got help with things that like I was just not gonna be able to get help with to be able to change my life if it weren't for me following my intuition first. So sometimes it's not about thinking of how it is that I'm gonna change my life 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. It's simply about connecting with what feels good today, small or big ways, and going more in that direction. I feel like reading a book today for an hour. I feel like switching up my morning routine a little bit. I feel like trying a new recipe today. I feel like calling a friend today when I don't usually do that. I feel like creating something new, even if it doesn't mean that it's gonna be anything productive. I feel like going on LinkedIn and just searching jobs and just seeing what's out there, even if I'm not gonna actually make any sort of decision. I feel like entertaining the possibility that my life could be better than what it is now. Trust me, it will change your life. The next thing that is very imperative when it comes to entering a new season of your life is allowing yourself to receive help. And This has been a big one for me because I've been somebody who's done many things alone. I can do everything alone. I can figure it out alone. I've had to do so many things alone, but in my late 20s, I've realized the importance of help and community and, you know, having somebody to lean on and getting support in any way I possibly can. And how when you do receive help, whether it's actual help from a friend or family member, or maybe like you're hiring somebody if you like own your own business or something like that, or simply I'm actually going to be more receiving to feedback from people, places, and things. Maybe you're the know-it-all. Maybe I got it all figured out. I don't need any opinions, it's that, but you have friends that are doing it a different way, or you have a friend who's giving you advice. Listen to that advice. The thing is, sometimes we block our own blessings and we block the things that will actually allow us to succeed. And the thing is this, if you want to change and evolve, you need to be open to changing and evolving. And I feel like sometimes we think that we are. I want to hit the goal. I want to be a new version of myself. I want a new body. I want to eat well. I want to whatever it is that you want, more money, things like that. But there's a lot of doors that you have closed without you even realizing it. So do your best to step into that receiving energy. You do not need to do everything alone. You really actually can't even anyways. Listen to that advice, try things a new way, and also go ask for help. For me, I recently just hired on an assistant because I need help with so many things when it comes to my business, and it's just time. Like, I've been waiting for so long, but you know what is actually funny is when I decided to follow my intuition, the first step when it comes to moving, naturally I had this like awareness that it was time to receive. And you see how me following what feels good leads me into now I'm getting help, and now I'm changing more because when I get help, now I can expand, now I can grow, now I can do things in different ways, easier ways, more efficient ways. The next thing that's very helpful when it comes to entering a new season is creating boundaries and having communication. Because I find when I want to shift into a new life, there are probably things that I am overcommitting to and not having the best boundaries with, or just need to change some things around a little bit, because I'm not gonna have time to execute the things that I want to execute and become a new version of myself when I am tied to things that no longer serve me in this season. And this doesn't mean you need to cut off people or that what you're currently like spending time and energy like on or with are bad. It's just maybe it's time to reflect and look at these things and communicate and change them a little bit. For me, I get invited to so many events as an influencer, and I would always just try to make them. Like, I would always try to make it happen. I would always reply to the emails being like, yeah, I would love to. And then I would always find myself burnt out and not even being able to go, and then feeling bad because I said yes and this, that. So in this season of my life, I know that I only have a certain amount of time and I'm focused on these things. Like, I'm clear with the things that I want to do in my life right now, which means I am now having more boundaries with things. I'm really just saying no to things that are not going to be supportive on my new season of life. Another example is my boyfriend and I, we've had such a busy summer. We've done so much in the summer. We just felt like we were go, go, go. Like, at the end of the summer, we were a little bit burnt out, and we both really communicated with each other that we are so down to do like way less things on the weekends. Like, at least for like the fall time. Like, September was very slow for us, and even October a little bit. And we just got on the same page when it comes to we would rather be staying in and making some meals and getting to sleep early and like waking up early. And it doesn't mean that we're not doing things, but we're like doing slower things. We're going to the farmer's market at whatever time we end up waking up at on Saturday. We are grabbing a sandwich during the day, but we're not like filling up our plans like head to toe. And maybe trying a new coffee shop, but we're not like overcommitting and filling up our days with a bunch of things that we have to absolutely do. Sometimes we just burn ourselves out, and that's not going to allow us to be a better version of ourselves, but also enter a new season of life. I think about when I was younger and I had more of a party scene social life. I would always be going out and saying yes to plans, but those things absolutely drained me. Drinking drained me, waking up hungover drained me, trying to do a million things on the weekends drained me when I was also working full-time jobs and doing all these things. So if you see yourself in that as well, maybe it is time to communicate to friends like, hey, I am not available for these things. I wouldn't say it like that, by the way. Like, I think that that's like a little much to be texting your friends. Actually guys, like, I'm not available for these things anymore. Like, we don't need to be like that, but just whatever, however you talk to your friends, or even like your boyfriend or your girlfriend, whatever it is, just be like, hey, like I'm kind of in the vibe right now. I feel so burnt out. I want to really prioritize my sleep and my wellness and things like that. So I might not be coming out to all of the things, but I'll try my best, but like don't get offended if I don't. And potentially, can we change some of our plans to doing something else? Like I have a lot of friends, honestly, all of my friends now, when we hang out, we do Pilates classes, like our workout classes, or we go for a hot girl walk, or we go and grab coffee, we do something in the morning, even if it's in the afternoon or even at dinner. Actually, my best friend and I, we celebrated her birthday, like late birthday, and we are both on the same page with let's do dinner as early as we can so that we can like get into bed at a good time. And also we're gonna have just one drink. We're not gonna go crazy because we don't want to be hungover, and like we're just being real and authentic. And I feel like once you find people who are on that same page, it is going to really support you into that new chapter of your life. But that requires you to communicate, because if you have a bunch of people around you that nothing is vibing, like everyone's like on different pages, then no one's communicating, and you need to do that, and you need to have some boundaries. The next thing that is very imperative is shifting your self-talk, obviously into more positive, uplifting words of affirmation and just your overall outlook on life. If you believe that you are not going to be successful, that you can't do it, or that things are too hard, you're not going to do it. You know why? Because your actions, which are the things that will get the thing done, whether it's health and wellness, business, relationship stuff, friendship stuff, whatever it is, it requires you to get up and take action, but your mindset is dictating your actions, and not even just your conscious mind, but your subconscious beliefs as well. So what do you deeply believe about yourself, about success, and what you believe is possible for your life? What do you actually believe when it comes to love and what you deserve in love? And if you see yourself accepting the bare minimum, if you see yourself constantly self-sabotaging, if you see yourself procrastinating and not doing the things that you say that you want to do, you need to start reflecting on the things that you actually believe, which means you need to be real with yourself. And there's many ways that you can do this. I think in general, you're gonna need to learn the skill of just shifting your negative self-talk when it comes up, because your negative self-talk can come up whenever, all the time. And the easiest way to look at it is you need to see how you're controlling thoughts. Oh, I have to do this and that and this and that. Or you're not following the plan and you need to go do that instead of following your intuition. Or this person doesn't like you. Or what if you embarrass yourself? Or you shouldn't change jobs because it's gonna mean X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. All of these things, you need to understand that it's not you. It's just a part of you that holds these fears and these limiting beliefs, usually from the past, usually from trauma, things like that. But you have the power to not allow that to be your reality. And the way I like to look at that is, okay, all of these thoughts, they're just clouds and I can allow them to pass. I actually don't need to listen to anything that I tell myself. I actually have free will. Okay, you need to exercise your free will and say, you know what? I'm going to do the things that make me feel better. And I know that these limiting beliefs are just that, they are limiting. And that's not going to allow me to become a new version of me. You don't need to act on every negative thought. You don't need to act on every controlling thought that you have. You can actually really do whatever it is that you want. So you might as well start acting on good, positive thoughts. And the way I like to also reprogram and like think better thoughts is first having a journal practice in the morning. I always talk about having a journal practice, whether it's gratitude, you're working on your self-concept, you're working on things that you're wanting to manifest and bring into your life, your goals, your aspirations. Maybe you're just letting your feelings out that day. Whatever it is, you're really working through that cognitive clutter that is in your mind. By the way, I'm gonna be coming out with a digital journal series where I'm gonna bring you guys through all of my favorite journal practices. So just make sure you're signed up to my email list, which will be in the description because it is coming very soon. But for the time being, journal practices are great. I think another thing that's very powerful is also just like listening to podcasters, YouTubers, positive people around you, right? You are taking in information all the time. So it's either gonna be negative or positive. So you can listen to people who are complaining about the world, complaining about men and women and how life is hard and how no jobs and no money and this, that, or you can listen to people who are teaching you how to make money or how to build a career or whatever it is in your field and be productive. Or maybe there's just vloggers that are on their shit and they're being productive, or their morning, night habits, whatever, fitness, health. Learn something, read a book, listen to something that is going to impact your life. When you consume positivity, and I don't even mean it needs to constantly be positive affirmations all the time. Like just listening to people like me where I'm just like, the reality is if you think better thoughts, you're like probably gonna have better outcomes in life. Like you don't need to be perfect all the time, and you can have your bad days, but at the end of the day, it's like we gotta kind of get up and like save ourselves. If you listen to that, it will naturally start to change your self-talk. Also, for anyone who is new here, I do have a second channel, and it's for my podcast, the Glow Up Secrets podcast. So if you want more content from me, you can always listen to that. Right now, we're really talking a lot about relationships, but I talk a lot about healing, inner child work, and trauma, nervous system regulation, but also overall self-development as well. So I'll leave the links down below, but you can also listen to it on Spotify or Apple if you would rather listen to your podcast audio form. And the last way that you are going to enter a new season is to prioritize your routines and also switch them up. Now, I've been talking about this in my fall morning routine and in my fall evening routine, how naturally, as the seasons change, you are probably gonna have to shift your routines and habits and things like that because, you know, like the mornings are a little bit darker, maybe it's colder, there's gonna be things that you need to have in place so that your mental health is stable. But you prioritizing your routines and trying out new recipes and changing up your workouts and making sure that you're getting sleep, that will literally transform you physically and mentally into a new version of you. And when you have more energy, when you feel better about yourself, when you're showing up in life, you're living life, you're getting out of bed, you're doing the things that you really want to be doing, you are going to succeed. I promise you. There's no way that you're going to fail if you're waking up and you're trying and you're putting in that work. And listen, things take time. This past year has been a huge healing journey, like physically and mentally, emotionally. I've gone through the hardest things in my life, and it has definitely felt like baby steps at some points, and sometimes I was like, I feel like I'm still stuck in a cycle and I'm not getting out of it. But lo and behold, those baby steps lead to that big impact, and I am now really seeing the fruits of my labor and feeling like the physical changes within my mental health, and in turn that's allowing me to think clearly. It's allowing me to have new insights. It's allowing me to have a bigger capacity to take on new things in my life, because that's the thing. If you are sick and unwell and not feeling good mentally, physically, emotionally, and you're stuck in these patterns, it's gonna be hard for you to even step into that version of yourself because you're not prepared. Your body's not prepared. Your body's exhausted. Your mental health is not good. Your thoughts are not good. Your environment, your boundaries, everything is weak. So it's almost no wonder that, yeah, you haven't been seeing any changes. There's no new chapter that you feel like you're entering, because we need to prep our minds and our bodies for that. So that's all I'm gonna say in today's video. Those are some of the things that I've been really focusing on and reminding myself of, because it's very imperative to step into a new version of myself, and I'm already seeing the changes. I'm really excited for what is to come. But like I said, life is not perfect. You're not gonna do everything perfect all the time, and that is totally okay. There's gonna be a lot of days where you feel like you're not making any progress, and also there's gonna be days where you don't need to be like working on yourself and focusing on this. Allow yourself to move through the natural evolution of life, but also remind yourself that you have the power to change your life. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments what you resonated with the most, and what tip, if not all of them, at least like one of them, that you're gonna be taking with you and really focusing on in this new season of your life. And also share with me, what are you guys stepping into? Like, is it a new season of love? Is it a new season of business or work or finance or health? Anything. I really would love to know. And also, when you share what you're going through, other people can relate as well, and everyone feels like they're less alone. And of course, let me know what you'd like to see next. I definitely want to do some more vlogs, but I was also thinking, like, within the vlog, if I can give you guys any tangible tips of, you know, like how I stay productive through the fall, things like that, whatever it is, please let me know in regards to any sort of topic. I will definitely make that video. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you want to see my daily updates and all the good things. Alicia Gogan. I'll have everything linked down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.